Have you applied love in line with the will, purpose, and mission of God?
Hi, my YouTube family. Welcome on Set Again. Today, our topic will be entitled Physical Manifestation of Love.
And the woman was taken unto Pharaoh's house. So Abraham had realized that when we are approaching Egypt, because my wife is extremely, so it is not just a normal beauty. This is not a normal beauty like any ordinary woman. This was a beauty extreme, an extreme beauty that even kings recognize, that princes recognize. This is not an ordinary beauty. This is a beauty that kings will begin to admire. This is a beauty that kings will begin to recognize. This is a stranger in the land of Egypt. But even as they are approaching Egypt, as they are coming into Egypt, the princes are recognizing this is a fair woman. This is a very beautiful woman. That they are even going to report to the king. There is a very beautiful woman who has visited our land. And now they are even taking her to the king, for the king to behold her beauty. So before we continue to the next ones, because we'll continue seeing this so much being evident in the life of Abraham, that Abraham married Sarai. They have lived, because here she's about maybe 63, 64, 65. And you can still see her beauty is so evident. She is glowing in grace. She's so beautiful that even the princes and the kings are recognizing. They are taking notice of her. That when now they are coming into the city, when they are coming into Egypt, the Egyptians have started noticing the beauty of Sarai. And remember, Sarai is not young. You cannot say she was in her mid-30s. She was in her 60s. And also, I want you to notice something else. She was not newly married. She was in the marriage. And she was glowing in grace. She was glowing in beauty in this union of marriage. I want to mention another scripture. I will go bits and bits so that you can take up, you can connect the dots from the original two scriptures that we had read in the New Testament. Now I will take you to Genesis 13:2. And Abram was very rich in cattle, in silver, and in gold. Remember, Abram is in the union of marriage. Abram has a very beautiful woman, and day by day, even as she ages, she's aging gracefully in so much beauty. Beauty that is making even the kings to recognize her, the princes to recognize her. Yeah? And even as they are in the union of marriage, number one, the wife is glowing in beauty, exceeding in beauty, and again, Abraham is exceeding in riches. And Abraham was very rich, very. He was not only rich, he was very rich in cattle, in silver, and in gold in this union of marriage. I will take you now to Genesis 13:14 to 17. And the Lord said unto Abram, after that Lot had separated from him, lift up now thine eyes, and look from the place where thou art, northwards, and southwards, and eastwards, and westwards, north, south, east, and west. For all the land which thou seest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed forever. Everywhere you look upon, and remember, if you remember this scripture, Abraham not only looked physically, he looked spiritually and physically. So when Abraham was told, look at north, south, east, and west, he saw the whole world. And so as he saw, God gave him for an inheritance, for himself, and for his seed. And I will make thy seed as the dust of the earth, so that if a man can number the dust of the earth, then shall thy seed also be numbered. Arise, walk through the land in the length of it and in the breadth of it, for I will give it unto thee. Abram is in the marriage. Abraham has a very beautiful wife. Abraham, every single time when he has a conversation with God, and remember here now they have parted ways with Lot, God is continuing to increase him in wealth, to increase him in blessings. And look at it, because there's something else I want you to capture here. Sarai was barren, and we will see as we continue. And even when Sarai is barren, she cannot have children. God is not even telling Abraham, I'm giving you one son. He's telling Abraham, I'm giving you children like the dust of the ground. If you can number dust, then you can number Abraham's seeds, Abraham's children. And Abraham is in this space where, Lord, I don't even have one child. And you're telling me you will give me children like the dust on the ground. Let us continue. Genesis 14:20. Because I needed you to capture that mindset, because there are two lessons in what I am teaching today. From where you are, it doesn't matter where you are barren. You cannot see tomorrow. You cannot see the light at the end of the tunnel. But take heed on what God is telling you now. It might look exaggerated. It might look extravagant. But remember what Abraham is known of. The father of faith. Not only being known as the father of faith, you will see some other major statement. He believed. He believed everything that God told him. It doesn't matter how extravagant or exaggerated it may look or sound. It doesn't matter what position, the level of your position you are in. Maybe you are in subject poverty. Maybe you've been subjected in poverty beyond poverty. Right now, you do not even know where your next meal will come from. And here God is telling you, I am going to flood your life with blessings beyond your imagination, beyond your wildest dreams. All you need to do and believe, all you need to take from that which you have heard from God is believe. You have not been told to work on it. You have not been told to think about it. You have not been told anything. All you need to do is believe. No matter how much it sounds exaggerated, no matter how much it sounds far-fetched, no matter how much it sounds unbelievable, all you need to do is believe. So Abraham didn't have a child. Abraham and Sarai were getting old. And yet God is telling him, even if you don't have even one child, I'm giving you children like the dust on the ground. I want you to hold that thought. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter you don't have. It doesn't matter where will it come from. There is no even hope. I cannot even begin to think where all this is going to come from. Just believe. Abraham had nothing, but he just believed. Abraham, no matter how much God had started blessing him with wealth, there is nothing Abraham would do to conceive or to have a child. This was fully dependent on God. And this same God was telling Abraham, you might not have any child. You might not even begin to understand how it will happen because you are aging. But I'm giving you beyond even the request you may want. Maybe by then the match you would ask was 10 children or 12 children. But God is was telling Abraham, in your state with nothing, not even one, I am giving you children like the dust on the ground. Look at something else. And here, Abraham is in the union of marriage. Remember, Abraham has not come into the picture when he was a young boy or he was single. It is already Abraham is married. He has taken up Sarai. And you can see the benefits of love already evident in their union of marriage. Sarai being extremely beautiful, Abraham being very rich, because those are the words that have been used, very rich. The reason why I'm saying Sarai was extremely beautiful is because it is not an ordinary beauty. It's a beauty that is being recognized by kings. This is what has become of Abraham's life. Now we go to Genesis 14, 18 to 20, and I will read. Melchizedek, and there is a reason why I've specifically picked various scripture, because remember the story of Abraham is long. So if I needed to teach, I would have kind of read the bigger portion of the book of Genesis. And I know we have read the stories, but now you're understanding, begin to understand, and also begin to connect the dots on the scriptures that I've specifically picked, and also in line with the topic of today, the physical manifestation of love. So I will take you to Genesis 14, 18 to 20. And Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought forth bread and wine, and he was the priest of the Most High. Remember, Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought forth bread. Melchizedek came to meet Abraham. Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought forth bread and wine, and he was the priest of the Most High God, the priest of God himself, the priest of the Most High God. And he blessed him and said, remember, God has already begun to bless Abraham. But now Melchizedek, king of Salem, the priest of the Most High God, and he has also come and blessed. And he blessed him and blessed Abraham and said, blessed be Abraham of the Most High God, possessor of heaven and earth. And blessed be the Most High God, which has delivered thy enemies into thine hand. And he gave him tithes of all. After Melchizedek, king of Salem, came and blessed Abraham, then Abraham gave him tithes of all. He gave a tithe, because remember, Melchizedek is a priest, the high priest of the Most High. I will define Melchizedek, I will define Salem. Let's first read now Hebrew in line with Genesis 14, 18, 20 and Melchizedek. Let's read Hebrews 7, 1 and 2. For this Melchizedek, king of Salem, priest of the Most High, who met Abraham returning from the slaughter of the kings and blessed him, to whom also Abraham gave a 10th part of all, first being by interpretation king of righteousness, and after that also king of Salem, which is king of peace. Now I will define Melchizedek, because now I want to bring you now to one of the highest levels of blessings that will also come as a result of the union of marriage. One of the highest levels of blessings, I have repeated again, that will come as a result of the union of marriage. Now I will define Melchizedek. Remember, Melchizedek has been called who? Melchizedek is the king of righteousness, the priest of the Most High. So Melchizedek is the king of righteousness. The king of righteousness met Abraham, came and met Abraham. King of righteousness, the priest of the Most High God himself, came to meet Abraham and blessed him. Can you imagine the king of righteousness, the priest of the Most High God, coming to bless you? The king, remember again, king of Salem. What is Salem? He's the king of peace. Salem is the peace. King of peace. So, king of peace, king of righteousness, priest of the Most High God, came to Abraham and blessed him. Came to Abraham and blessed him. And Abraham was already in the union of marriage. This is what I want you to pick today because it's the topic of ours today. Love manifestation in the union of marriage. The physical manifestation of love. What happens when love is evident between a man and a woman? When love is evident in the union of marriage. That the King of Peace himself, the King of Righteousness himself, the priest of the Most High God comes to bless you. Comes to bless you. I will take you to Genesis 15:1. And now before I even go to Genesis 15:1, now you can begin to connect the dots when I give you the height, the depth, the width, and the breadth of love. The benefits, the fruits of love. What physically manifests when this particular love in the union of marriage is presented or it's given or it's applied in accordance to the will, purpose, and mission of God. So I will take you to Genesis 15:1. After these things, the word of the Lord came to Abram in a vision, saying, "Fear not, Abram. I am thy shield." Look at the additional blessings. And I'm just picking some of them, not all of them. After these things, the word of the Lord came unto Abram in a vision. Every time God spoke to Abram, he came in blessings, saying, "Fear not, Abram. I am thy shield." That in the midst of fear, I am your shield. So you're not supposed to fear. Additional blessings in the union of marriage. It doesn't matter what you husband, you man, are facing right now. God is telling you, fear not. Because you have made a choice to love your wife. Because love is present in the union of marriage. Fear not. Even in the midst of fear, fear not. Because I am your shield. Nothing, that which is causing you to even think of fearing, cannot hurt you. Because God himself, he's saying, I am your shield. God is not telling you to create a shield. God is telling you, I am your shield. And thy exceeding great reward. Me, God, personally, I am your shield and your exceeding great reward. And you can understand why the King of Peace, who is God himself, the King of Righteousness, who is God himself, the priest of the Most High God, who is God himself, had to come and present himself to Abram. He met Abram. He met Abraham after the slaughter, after the kill, after he won the war. He met him on the way. He met him. And now God is coming in the midst of fear. He's telling you as a man, fear not, because I personally, I, God, I am your shield. I am your exceeding great reward. I am your reward. In this union of marriage, fear not. It doesn't matter what you're facing. As long as love is present in this home, as long as love is evident, as long as love is applied in accordance to my will, purpose, and mission in this union of marriage, I am your shield. Nothing will come to rob you, to kill you, or destroy you. Fear not. I am, me, God, me, your Abba Father. I am your shield. And I am your exceeding great reward. I will take you to Genesis 15, 5-6. And he brought forth abroad and said, Look now towards heaven, and tell the stars, if thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, So shall thy seed be. Remember, God already told Abraham, the same way you cannot number the dust on the ground, your children will be. Now he's telling Abraham, now you are looking down, now look up. How deep is the love of God? How high? How wide? What's the width? What is the breadth? Now he's telling him, I told you to look down on the ground, the dust. You cannot count the dust. That's how much I have blessed you. That's how much your seed is. Now he's telling him, look up in the skies. Look at the stars. Can you number them? That is how many children I will give you. Remember, in this status, Abraham doesn't have any child. Not even one. And God is telling Abraham, it is actually extravagantly. You do not have one child, but extravagantly I have given you children. Because if you cannot number the children, you cannot number them. I have given you. Like the dust on the ground, like the stars in the sky. That's how many children I have given you, Abraham. Despite your situation, you don't have any child. You don't. I wish Abraham had one or two to believe that you can have many more others. You do not have, and you are aging. And God is telling you, like the dust on the ground, I have given you children. Countless children. Like the stars in the sky, I have given you children. Countless children. So shall thy seed be. And he believed. Now this is where I want you to pick. This is my emphasis, part of the emphasis on the topic of today. What is Genesis 15:5, now verse 6 is saying? If thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, so shall thy seed be. As the stars, the same way you cannot number them, so is your seed. Look at number 6. And he believed in the Lord. That's all Abraham needed to do. Believe. It doesn't matter where you are. Believe. Has God spoken to you today? Believe. Has God told you something and you are like, wait a minute, how now? Believe. He's not asking you to say how now. He's not asking you to think about it. He's not even allowing you to think about it. All you need to do is believe. As unbelievable as it seems, believe. And he believed in the Lord. He was counted it to him for righteousness. And remember, the king of Salem came and he was counted to it for righteousness. Righteous Abraham. That is how his righteousness was counted. That is how he became the righteousness of God. Because he just believed what God had told him. The only thing he needed to do is believe. No matter how insane it sounded, unbelievable it sounded. But God, you said it, I believe. I believe. I believe. And remember, all these blessings are coming in the union of marriage. You man, I'm talking to you today. In the union of marriage, what has backfired? What is not working? Have you applied love in line with the will, purpose, and mission of God? Are you doing what you're supposed to do? Now, just believe. Has God told you he will give you blessings like the dust in the ground, like the stars in the sky? Are you trusting God for a child and you're aging and you're getting older and you have been told by every doctor you cannot have children? Believe. Believe. And how unbelievable it sounds, it will come to pass. Because all you need to do is what? Believe. And remember, faith worketh by love. Faith worketh by love. I have taught that. Scroll down, you will see that teaching. Scroll down on the teachings that I have taught. Love worketh by love. There is love in your home. There is love in the union of marriage. Faith must work. Believe. Believe, and it is done. Because the main ingredient of faith, which is love, is present. Now you understand why Abraham was very rich. Now you understand why Sarai was extremely beautiful. A beauty to behold. Remember, she's aging, but the more she ages, the more beautiful she becomes. Yet in our day to day, we are being told as we age, we actually, the younger you are, the more beautiful you are. As you age, I don't want to use that word, but you do not look fairer and beautiful as you age. And which is supposed to be the opposite of what the word is telling us. Because as you age, the more beautiful you should become. And now you can understand why the opposite has happened, Antichrist. Everything contrary to the will, purpose, and mission of God. A man, you have taken up a wife. This is the union of marriage. This is a relationship you are into. And instead of loving this woman so that she can manifest and become that which she's supposed to be, you are supposed to be feeding her, because love is the food of the woman. Feed her, feed her, feed her for her to become. Now you're not feeding her. So she cannot become that which she already is. And now you can see the benefits of love. You can see the fruits of love, not even the benefits. The physical manifestation of love. How do you identify love physically? By how much that wife looks. By the look of that woman, I can tell there is love in the home. Because I can physically see she has no wrinkle, she has no spot, she has no blemish. What is the result? Extreme beauty. Now, I would want to actually emphasizing on that statement that I've been making. God would give Abraham extreme blessings, citing his present condition. And the only thing that Abraham did was to believe in the Lord. Citing his present condition. His present condition, he could not have children. His present condition, he was aging. So everything about his present condition was, it is not possible, it is not happening, it will never happen. But God was extravagantly blessing him, giving him the same blessing that he was short of, giving him the same blessing that he knew as time is going, it is not possible. And God was not telling him, I will give you one child. He was telling him, like the dust on the ground, like the stars in the sky. The same way you cannot count dust, the same way you cannot count the stars, so are your children. So is your seed. Let's go to Genesis 16, 1 to 6. The manifestation. Remember, the topic of today is the manifestation of love. Genesis 16, 1 to 6. Now Sarai, Abraham's wife, bore him no children, and she had a handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar. And remember, I told you from the onset when we started this topic, we are not concentrating on the mistakes that Abraham and Sarai made. We are concentrating on the love, the manifestation of love in this union of marriage. And you can see they have been backed by two major scriptures that I started with in the New Testament. But now we are beginning to get our evidence from the Old Testament, from Genesis itself, so that you can understand the original mindset of God was tangible, was physical. What God says is evident. The word of God is real. It is not a story. You're not being told to be rejuvenated, to have hope, to believe, but nothing will happen. Whatever word of God, whatever God has said is evident, is physical, is tangible, and it manifests. Now Sarai, Abraham's wife, bore him no children, and he had a handmaiden, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar. And Sarai said unto Abraham, Behold now, the Lord has restrained me from bearing. I pray thee, go into my maids. It may be that I may obtain children by her. And Abraham hearkened to the voice of Sarai. Just hold on. Remember the journey God had with Abraham. Remember, God kept reminding Abraham how much he has blessed him with children. And remember, Abraham believed God. We were not told Abraham didn't believe. Abraham believed God. He believed. It is written, he believed. But now, God was not talking to Sarai. There is no account that God was telling Sarai, I will give you children like the dust of the ground or the stars in the sky. No, God was telling Abraham. And Abraham believed. So Sarai here now is coming and telling the husband, I don't have children. I cannot have children. Take our maid and sleep with her so that we may have children from her. This is not what God told Abraham. But Abraham was listening to the wife. Let's continue. And Sarai, Abraham's wife, took Hagar, her maid, the Egyptian, after Abraham had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her to her husband Abraham to be his wife. Sarai took the maid and gave it to the husband. And he went in unto Hagar, and she conceived. So Abraham hearkened to the voice of Sarai. Abraham obeyed the wife. Abraham listened to the wife. What does this tell you? That Abraham loved the wife so much that he hearkened to whatever the wife would tell him, even though he knew what God had told him.